Hello everybody, and welcome back to the final episode of the life and suffering of Sir Brante. We've finally reached the conclusion of this epic tale, here with Hearth and Home, where we're going to find out probably what happened to our family. While you're busy preparing, night falls over Anazotti. The darkness brings disorder, lawlessness, and chaos. In the dark, madmen, robbers and looters flood the city. These gangs have no interest in the fate of the Empire or the revolt. They see the uprising as a sign that the end of the world is nigh, and if the wrath of the gods is at hand, then everything is permitted. Upon hearing reports of gangs roaming the streets, you sense danger. What is to stop them from attacking your home? Your people may need you, but you will never abandon your family. Taking a squad of loyal men with you, you hurry to your home district. Your instinct proves to be correct. Even before reaching your street, you smell smoke. Sir Tybalt's school is ablaze. The old man was hurled out of a third-story window and impaled on the sharp spikes of the gate below. Ashes from dozens of burning books blanket the ground like black snow. Thomas's old house lies in ruins. Breathless, you run up the street. Your men can barely keep up with you. You hope you are not too late. You round the last turn. There it is, the gate of your ancestral home. You see dozens of figures approaching by the light of the burning houses. The thugs are close. Too close. You run through the gate and into the house. Your men stay to guard the outside. You hastily open the door. Your father is on the doorstep, sword in hand. He recognises you and lets out a sigh of relief. It's you, Montgomery. I'm so glad you're here. The bastards have burned down half the district and they're on their way here. He is cut short. The living room window is shattered, a torch lands on the floor. You quickly stamp out the flames. A battle is in full swing in your front yard. A massive crowd is furiously attacking your soldiers without any regard for their own safety. The looters are led by a rugged, half-naked old man clad in rags. Horrible scars on his wrists and ankles reveal his past as a convict. He is frantically in your direction, his shrieks cutting through the din of the fray. The world is coming to an end. We've disobeyed the twins and they're punishing us. There ain't no punishment worse than this, so there ain't nothing to fear. These are our last hours. Do whatever you want. The crowd bellows in support of the old man. Your soldiers fall one after another beneath the onslaught of the rabid gang. The twins have damned us all. We've been damned by your sins, you filthy nobles, your false priests. Before we face our final judgment, we'll dole out a little punishment of our own. We'll take revenge on you before we die. Our judgment cometh. The horde crushes your squad's resistance and approaches the house. The stomping of their feet shakes the windows. Your father looks at you in despair. They want to execute us. What do we do, son? We're not going to die for our home, and we're not going to flee alone. We have options. So, we can fight for our home. You, father, and Stefan rout the gang. Or you use your popularity with the common folk to appease the mob. I need the revolt to keep working on our side. That's the only thing. Because currently, we need the revolt to keep working. I fear that if we dissuade them, they're going to go down, but I think we're going to try to subdue the... Oh, I could fight for my home. But I wonder if Stefan will die because of that. We're going to subdue the thugs. We're going to try and attempt this peacefully. You calmly tell father he has nothing to fear. All the commoners and Anazotti know you, even the madmen surrounding your house. Without a trace of fear, you fling the door open and walk out to face the enraged horde unarmed. He came out by himself. Take him alive. With an imperious gesture, you stop the thugs in their tracks. You inform that you are Montgomery Brante, one of the leaders of the revolt. Surely they know your name. The crowd hesitates. Hey, it really is him. All the common folk support Brante. He ain't no enemy of ours. Now that you have their attention, you continue your speech. The end of the world is not coming. A new day is about to dawn. This old lunatic is leading them down a path that will doom their lives, nay, their very souls, just when the revolt is one step away from victory. Lies! Do you really think this man is your leader? He's just trying to save his own hide, even though the end of the world is coming. This Brante and his ilk are just as rotten as the powers that be. The end times is already upon us, but they still want to damn you all to an even worse fate. Let's punish the lot of them. But the insane prophet's followers are starting to grumble. No way we're going after Brante, he's no tyrant, leave him be, old man. The elderly gang leader grits his teeth. Some of his supporters slowly approach him, their knives drawn. He has no choice but to admit defeat. Fine, have it your way. Looks like folks have decided to spare you and your house, but remember you can't escape the ultimate punishment, it's coming for us all. And know this, we will spread word of your hypocrisy all over the city. While poor folks is getting ready to fight the Legion with their bare hands, you're holed up in your fine house like a damn coward. Let's go, other sinners await. The bloodthirsty horde careens away from your home, and you heave a sigh of relief. Visibly shaken, father stumbles out into the front yard. By the gods, you routed them with words alone. I was about to put on a Skyrim voice there. By all the gods. It's hard to believe that my own son has such power over the people. You brace father warmly, but you cannot stay any longer. The preparations for the decisive battle are not finished. I understand, son. Take care. I hope to see you again soon. Ah, that was my concern. My concern was that we were going to lose the support of the revolt from doing that. But I feel like if we'd killed them, that would have enacted the same problem. The Brante family survives the night of the revolt. Are we going to win, though, is another question. We are now into night time. I have a slight suspicion that we're not going to be able to pull this off. The final hour. This event is a consequence of your previous actions. We need the revolt back on side. We also want the common folk back on side as well. We've lost their support a little bit there because of the stupid old man spreading lies about us. It is mere moments from midnight. The glow of the shining pillar is barely visible behind the crimson clouds coming in from the north. But the darkness hanging above the city is dissipated by countless lights. Crowds of people holding torches, stakes burning in the squares, houses in flames. The glow of the fires can also be seen from beyond the city walls. The Legion marches down the road, inexorably approaching the gate of a city in the throes of rebellion. The final battle draws near. All the forces that have chosen to defy the Overseer and the Empire flock to the city gate where you've set up your base. The soldiers of the last straw assemble commoners into squads and hastily arm them. Other rebels are led by nobles of the Mantle and former members of the Legion who have joined the revolt. The priests who have sided with you will spread the word of the twins to the city walls, attempting to convince the Legion soldiers to retreat and allow the people of Anazotti to be free of the lot. Preparations are also in full swing at the camp of the defenders of the Old Order, who established a foothold in the ruins of Char Milonidus' palace. Soon their fate will be decided. Will they crush the revolt with the aid of the Legion, or be crushed themselves by the new era? There is no time left, just enough for one last attempt to tip the scales in your favour. Will you spend this final hour appealing to one of your allies to help, or would it be wiser to wait and muster your forces for the final battle? Will you attempt to defeat the Legion, the Overseer's army in combat, or persuade them to retreat without engaging in battle? The fate of Anazotti is in your hands. So we can go see Elborn. That would help us with the nobles. I'm guessing the Patriarch would help us with the priests. Family hasn't perished, which is good. For some reason we can't bring Father and Gloria to inspire the common folk. Sophia's dead. I don't think we need the nobles' support for our win here. We already have the noble support. That's the only one we can do. Is going to our Brante. I mean, we don't need the nobles, but I feel like mustering our forces may not give us any additional benefits here. We need the commoners back on side, and we don't have them, so I think this is going to be a failure. We don't have the common folk because we protected our family. Had we not protected our family, we might have been okay here. Oh, it's so frustrating in so many levels. We don't need to go see our Born, because that's only going to help us with the nobles. We're going to muster our forces here. Hopefully that will help us out somehow. The day has already turned out to be the most arduous of your entire life, and the hardest part is yet to come. You need to take advantage of this lull to clear your mind. Who knows? Perhaps your inner strength is what will decide the outcome of the coming clash. You walk away from the army's noisy preparations, sit on a parapet, and watch the city burn. Off in the distance, you can just make out the district where you were born and raised. Your memories bring you back to a time when you first walked these streets. In your mind's eye, you see young faces of Thomas, Stefan, and Gloria, but that is all in the past now. Midnight strikes. You can hear the menacing tread of the Legion outside the city walls. The time has come. You order your troops to assemble and prepare to defend the walls. I don't think we're going to manage this. I think we're going to fail. We've been on such a thin tightrope this entire time. The battle for Anazotti. Okay, so we might still be able to win it somehow. The dark void beyond the walls of Anazotti is lit by hundreds of lights. Heavy boots tread the soil, armour clanks, halberds gleam, drums beat a lively march. Led by the glow of the torches, the Magran Legion approaches the city walls. The Imperial Army finally arrives to put an end to this unfathomable revolt. Gaius Tempest himself leads the Legion. It is the Overseer's duty to crush the revolt this very night and pacify the city before news of the incident spreads throughout the Empire. If the Overseer's hesitation allows the revolt to last even a few days, it could jeopardise not only his position, but even the fate of the entire province that has been entrusted to him. An entire city rebelling against Imperial rule, nothing like this has happened for generations. But what is afoot within the walls of Anazotti? The decisions you have made today have left the city in a state of chaos and unrest. The defenders of the Empire are not strong enough to crush the revolt and disperse the armed crowds, but the leaders of the revolt have not managed to unite the insurgents under a single banner either. Neither side has the upper hand. Riots and fires continue in the streets. Many commoners have decided to use this opportunity to exact personal revenge or loot homes and businesses. However, fear of the punishment that will befall them if the Legion wins is still strong among the simple folk. However, the main forces of the revolt maintain order in their camp with a firm hand. There are still many insurgents who are ready to fight to the true death for their cause. The soldiers of the last straw, reckless conspirators and dangerous fighters taught by Sophia to struggle against the old order until the bitter end. Zealous new believers who would rather face execution than betray their faith. Poor nobles and former Legion soldiers who have joined the revolt in violation of their oath of loyalty to the Empire. They know there will be no mercy for them, so they have nothing to lose. All the remaining rebel forces gather at a fortified base by the city gate. The rebels have surrounded it with barricades, preparing to repel an attack from either side. The soldiers of the revolt, some armed with spears and axes, some with firearms, and some with simple rocks, hastily assemble atop the walls. The Legion gets into formation in front of the gate, ready to begin the assault as soon as their commander gives the order. The defenders atop the walls respond by raising their firearms. A herald from Gaius Tempest comes forward, stopping mere steps from the gate. He loudly proclaims the Overseer's demands. My subjects, Lay down your arms this instant and open the gate. I know that you have been deceived by an insurgency. You have my word as an arcane ruler that I'll spare anyone who aids the Legion and turns over the leaders of the revolt. Should you disobey this order from your lawful ruler, none of you will escape disgrace, execution, and eternal torment at the foot of the Shining Pillar. The Legion Herald proudly lifts his head, awaiting the rebels' decision. What? We can die for the revolt? That's bad. Oh, we don't have enough willpower, no. You cast a quick glance at your allies. The time for preparations has ended. Everything depends on the size of your army and the balance in the city between the forces you have managed to win over and those you have antagonized. The next hour will determine your place in history. We can't get rid of Sophia. We can't rout the insurgents. We can't die in battle against the revolt. We can't defend the city. We don't have quite enough willpower. I thought we did. I thought we picked up more willpower. Oh, we're back up to 5, not 10. Now, it says die for the Empire. Is it a true death? Or is it just a death? Because I can take one more lesser death. You can't defeat the armed forces of the Empire. Your only option is to fight until your dying breath. We're going to do it. We might be a martyr. The soldiers on the walls freeze in anticipation, awaiting your decision. For the last time, you consider the consequences. The fate of Anazotti depends on your reply. You look back at your rebel troops, their numbers greatly depleted. You look back at your city, where many have turned their backs on you, some because of your actions today, others out of fear of the punishment they will inevitably face for rising up against the Empire. But there is no turning back now. You know your answer. From atop the city gate, you proclaim that the Overseer no longer has any subjects in this city. From this day forth, Anazotti is free. Behind you, you hear the loud roar of those who still support you. We're not your servants anymore. Get lost. The herald silently retreats to the Legion formation. There is a brief moment of quiet. Holding your breath, you watch the menacing enemy army. Finally, the silence is broken by a drumroll and the stamping of thousands of feet. The Legion is about to attack. To arms. Charge! Take the city. The Overseer sends his first battalions at the walls closest to the gate. The Archnew remains with his elite cavalry, observing the assault from afar. The fortress of Anazotti has withstood many an assault. These stones saw many battles before the foundation of the Empire. The Legion, on the other hand, rushed here, equipped with nothing but jerry-rigged siege ladders. You still hope to stand your ground. Gaius Tempest needs to pacify the city this very night. Therefore, his soldiers will try to make their way over the wall, open the gate from inside, and let the main forces in. You cast a glance at your soldiers, contemplating your next move. But you suddenly hear cries of terror, the clattering of hooves, and the clanking of armour from your camp at the gate below. The enemy is attacking from the rear. If your defences are broken from the inside of the city, you are doomed. Gathering your soldiers, you dash down to the barricades protecting the gate. Beneath the banner of the Empire, scores of militiamen led by local nobles are assaulting your camp. It pains you greatly to see so many poorly armed commoners among their ranks. They echo their commander. The twins are watching us. Death to the rebels. You hurry towards the fortifications. The defenders repel the first onslaught with great effort. For now, the barricades have kept the enemy from breaching the gate. But your strength is quickly running out. Meanwhile, up on the walls, you can already see the Legion's siege ladders. Your voice is hoarse, but you keep shouting orders, hold the barricade, freedom or death. The noble cavalry suddenly emerges from the darkness. I've just seen the last sentence there, striking your right flank. You rush to stop them, but it is too late. The mounted soldiers have already smashed the barricades and burst into your camp. Your defences have fallen, all hope is lost. Your soldiers scatter, terrified by the furious horsemen. Ragged and covered in blood, barely able to stand, you lead the few rebels still ready to fight to the end. Falling into formation, you aim your weapons at the cavalry as it charges at you. The horsemen slam into your squad like an avalanche, crushing it. You are knocked off your feet. You no longer have the strength to get back up and continue the fight. That's him, that's Brante, their leader. A gang of commoners run up to you and bind your hand and foot. Lying helplessly on the ground, you lift your gaze. The Legion's vanguard has already decimated the resistance on the walls and is now opening the gate. The few surviving rebels dash from the gate and try to escape down back alleys. The gate swings open, creaking loudly. On the other side, you see the fluttering banners of the approaching Legion. The victorious Imperial Army cries in unison, "We've won! Long live the Emperor! Death to the insurgents, put them to trial." Accompanied by the clanking of armour, the Legion battalions enter the city one after another. At the head of the cavalry, Overseer Gaius Tempest imperiously passes through the gate. Punitive battalion, pacify the city. The streets must be completely free of rebels by dawn. First we must be sure to dispose of all their leaders, bring them to me. Wounded and bound, you're thrown at the Overseer's feet. Your Grace, this is one of their leaders, Montgomery Brante. The other leaders of the revolt are shoved to the ground by your side. You exchange grim looks with your comrades. Madmen, what were you hoping for? The Empire is great and eternal. Why did you defy a force that could crush any of you in an instant? You remain silent, looking the Overseer straight in the eye. I was not your enemy. I've always cared for my subjects. I gave you a path to salvation, but you spurned my gracious offer. Now you face just retribution at my hands. Hang them. The Overseer watches without pleasure as hastily made nooses are thrown around your necks. For high treason and mutiny against the lawful and sacred authority of the blessed Arcanian Empire, I, Gaius of the Tempest, Overseer of Magra, hereby sentence you to a true death. May your execution serve as a lesson to all those who consider themselves above the divine order. You think back on all those years gone by, all the difficult decisions you had to make, all the actions that led you here. Everything you fought for, everything you strove for, all that is behind you now. Your destiny has been fulfilled. The Legion soldiers pull up on the rope. Your body is jerked upwards, no longer under your control. Your neck snaps with a sickening crunch. Your life and suffering have ended. You are whisked away towards the blinding light. We suffer our true death. Neither side succeeds. Chaos and disorder spread all over the Empire. Your earthly life is over. You leave the world forever and face the judgment of the twins.
Neither side could overcome the other. The fire of the revolt could not be extinguished. The province, and then the whole empire, fell on troubled times.
When the moment of truth came, there was no soul in Anazotti strong-willed enough to spearhead the raging revolt. The opposing factions soon reached a stalemate in which neither side could prevail completely. Anazotti refused to surrender, but after a prolonged siege, Gaius Tempest finally broke the city's defences, and the Legion entered the rebellious city of Anazotti. The insurgents fled, the mobs disappeared from the squares and streets. The leaders of the revolt were hanged. But the city's capture made even more trouble for the Overseer. The unrest was completely down, but not suppressed completely. New rites followed one by one. As the common folk, the new faith priests and many nobles of the mantle continued to wage a desperate struggle against the old authorities. Gaius Tempest responded to the seething rebellion with more executions and threats, but dissent continued to grow. As the unrest in the city smouldered, the rest of the Empire eventually caught wind of the Anasazi revolt. Nearby Magran towns and villages saw their first riots soon after. Chaos began to spread across the Empire. The Empire responded to this enduring turmoil with ruthless action, but even after several villages and towns had drowned in blood, the riots only intensified. The dominance of the Emperor and his dynasty began to wane. Power struggles broke out between the powerful nobles in the capital. Then a shocking event shook the Empire to its core. Emperor Huithril II was found dead in his palace, never to be reborn. His heirs, Gerion and Flavius, both disappeared without a trace. When they wanted to take the throne, the noble dynasties accused one another of plotting against the Tempest's rule. Feuds and strife became commonplace. And so began an age of anarchy, a time of massacre and riots, conflict and bloodshed, chaos and unrest. There were no winners in this war of all against all, only survivors. The Empire entered a dark and terrible age. The power struggle in Magra continues. None of the factions are strong enough to prevail over the other. The estates are locked in a civil war, the common folk have rebelled against the rule of Gaia Tempest, and the nobility has been shattered into feuding camps. Animosity and strife have taken over. If this continues, Magra could remain divided for a very long time. The clash between the old faith and new continued, as the schism in the clergy grew. The people of Magra remained similarly divided. Neither doctrine has enough power to prevail over the other, so the venomous accusations and fervent disputes continue. The Inquisition is powerless to end the struggle. The strife between the faiths will continue to fester. The people of the province and the Empire will never be at peace until they decide which path of worship is the one that leads to the twins. The farmers, miners and tradesmen of Magra managed to survive the years of unrest. Once these dark days were behind them, they quickly recovered. The fields filled with imported soil continue to supply the people with food, and the Magran silver mines maintain a steady flow of blessed metal to the rest of the Empire. Whatever happens next, the province is safe from poverty and hunger. The years of unrest have left a mark on Magra. People will no longer fear or respect the rule of law. Disorder continues to spread throughout the land. The only thing capable of maintaining unsteady balance is brute force, as carnage, riots and disdain for the law continue to plague the province. It will be a long time before Magra has a chance of peace again. For many years after the revolt in Anasazi, the people of the Empire told the tale of how the Elder Twin himself visited the mortal world once again. He donned the guise of a common mortal to see the truth of his own creation and settled a dispute with the younger, but no one helped him find the answer he sought. And so, as the legend goes, the Elder Twin returned to the Shiny Pillar, never to descend to the mortal realm again. Until the very end, the Arctic Commander refused to acknowledge the laws that govern the lowly lot held sway over him, and yet thanks to you he finally faced justice. The once renowned descendant of the Otton dynasty met an ignoble end on the gallows, a terrible blow from which his family never recovered. With the death of its last living son, the venerable Otton blood tide ran dry. Prefect Augustine Alborn never saw his lifelong dream come to fruition. The revolt crumbled and the long-awaited change it promised was cut short. He joined the rest of Anasazi's defenders in the final fight. The prefect was captured and stripped of his noble title for the crime of treason, then hanged in disgrace. Alborn faced death with dignity and did not utter a single word of regret for what he had done. The former prefect is remembered as one of the leaders of the revolt, though he did not live long enough to witness the coming of a new age. Abbot Leonard had hoped to become the first patriarch elected by the people, but it was not to be. The leader of the new faith met his end beneath the ruins of the very temple that had been entrusted into his care. He is remembered as a priest who provoked the wrath of the twins themselves and reduced the Empire's greatest holy place to rubble. By the time the revolt had set Anasazi ablaze, Thomas Guerra was already living a new life with his family far away from the city. It seemed as though he could finally enjoy a peaceful life. But a few months later, the rebellion reached a sleepy village where your friend and his wife had put down roots. A horde of rebels approached the village where they lived, and most of the villagers joined them, eager to loot and pillage their very own community. Thomas fought desperately for his life and livelihood, but he was torn limb from limb by his fallen neighbours. Oh, Thomas, bud, I'm so sorry. I thought you would have had a good life. The being that was once Octavian Melanidas departed from this world forever without a trace. It was as though neither the beautiful young Arcanian lady nor the enigmatic being she ever existed. All the knowledge of the Latari was lost forever, along with the legacy of Octavian Melanidas. It was your duty to stop Sophia. The leader of the last straw was executed by your hand. Some remember her forever as a great freedom fighter who struggled for the good of the common folk. Others call her a vicious murderer who threatened to raze the empire to the ground. And what became of the Brante family? You defended the family home from the frenzied mob. Thanks to your efforts, the Brante family survived the dreadful night that followed. But this challenge was the first of many. The Brantes had to survive in the besieged city and fend off more attacks, while the family stayed until the Legion would finally return to Anazotti. The family never sided with revolt, and so they were spared the overseer's ire. Once rebellion was suppressed, they sought to return to their old life. But the city continues to simmer with unrest, and the family will never find peace until the disturbances end. Unable to thrive, the Brantes continue to fight tooth and nail just to survive. Your father lost his status, his career, and home. The rebellion destroyed Robert Brante's life and gave him nothing in return. When the world changed, your father found himself unable to adapt and find a new place in it. He had no choice but to abandon his ambitions and live in obscurity. His family was all he had left, so he dedicated himself to caring for its well-being. Your mother passed away from illness long before these events transpired. Lydia was not there to see what became of the family. In a bid to restore law and order in the home city, Stefan joined Gaius Tempest forces. To your elder brother, the unrest and riots were an opportunity to convert his lifelong ambitions into honour and status for his family. After your father was murdered by the rebels... I'm sorry, when was our father murdered by the rebels? That didn't happen. I said our father survived. When was Dad killed? That's ridiculous. Sometimes this game just seems to leap forward in stories, but oh well. After your father was murdered by the rebels, Stefan's zeal only grew. He continued to repress riots as they broke out and personally commanded the overseer's forces on a punitive mission throughout Magra. For the rest of his days, Stefan kept fighting the rebellion with all his might, but his life ended before his work was done. Gloria's new life as a nobleman's wife put an end to her youthful ardour. When she moved to her husband's home, her fervent poetry and her struggle in the name of the confolk remained in the past. She languished in her newfound monotony at first, mourning her fate. But her connection to the Brante family remained. Through this surviving link, Gloria found the strength to overcome her alienation and pull herself out of the depths of the melancholy in which she was mired. Slowly but surely, she came to recognise and accept the genuine love of Sir Jose El Pelletier. In a time she responded to his selfless and cordial care with deep gratitude. Gloria eventually came to terms with her newfound life in the noble estate, far from the city. She soon gave birth to the first of their children, and dedicated herself to raising the heir of the great El Pelletier bloodline. And so Gloria spent the rest of her life far from the turmoil in Anazotti, surrounded by comfort and warmth until the end of her days. Dazed by the changes brought by the rebellion, Nathan Brante found himself completely lost in the world around him. As the burden of his past sins grew more and more unbearable, he retreated into his own mind, until not even his own family could reach him. In the end, his despair drove him away from the family home. He roamed Magra as a vagabond devoid of all purpose. Nathan wantonly squandered the rest of his lives, one by one, in meaningless fights. He died his true death in a drunken brawl in a filthy roadhouse somewhere on the outskirts of Magra. Not even in the afterlife did Gregor Brante see the realization of his great dream. His descendants failed to have the Brante name ennobled by the sword. The Brante bloodline was denied its chance to become one of the Empire's most eminent dynasties. The blood tide ushered in by Gregor Brante would never have another chance at immortality. The hour of your death has come, your soul has left your body, never to return. You are taken to the peak of the shining pillar. Every moment separates you more and more from the mortal realm. The link that once bound you to it is gone forever. You look up to see two divine visages watching you intently. The elder twin gazes upon you full of sorrow and compassion. The younger examines you dispassionately, seeing your every act and thought. You have ascended from the mortal realm. From here you are but one step away from partaking in eternal bliss atop the peak of the shining pillar. But first you must be judged by them, just as every other soul born in this world has been judged since time immemorial. Only their judgment can decide whether you deserve to remain atop the peak or be hurled down to the foot. You stand before the twins, your very essence laid bare before them, all the secrets of your inner self revealed in full. Your soul is like an open book to them, one that preserves the story of your entire life. You lie prostrate before the gods. The time has come to take responsibility for your mortal life. And the other twins asks, are you thankful to the gods for the life you lived? We're going to be calm, we're going to be stoic. We staunchly accept everything that happened to you in the world that the twins created. Your life was your life. They hear your answer. Compassion and remorse fills the immeasurably deep eyes of the elder twin. He turns to face his divine brother, who returns with a gaze of expression of stern remorse. The elder twin asks you once more, what was your life to you? I think our life was about empathy. Our life was dedicated to other people and your relationships with them. You changed them and they changed you. We tried to bring the struggles and the hardships of the common people to a better light. We didn't quite get there, but all of that was done via empathy, I believe. The elder twin bows his head wearily, considering your response. But the stern visage of the younger audio looms above you. Human by name of Brante, what did you live for? A cause. You yearned to do a great deed that would outlive you. Happiness, faith, other people. You lived to make other people's lives better. We were a judge. We were an activist for human rights. We didn't quite get there. The youngest gaze lingers on your bed, defends the soul. The divine figure continues its stern interrogation. What did you leave behind? I don't think we can say that we've left a legacy or an achievement. I think we left change. Not necessarily good change, but change. The younger twin now moves towards you with clear intent, poised to render his judgment. But the elder twin restrains his brother with a gesture. A divine voice fills you once again. Did your life make the world we made better and more perfect? You do not know, that is not for you to judge. The younger twin is silent, his eyes two swords, piercing your soul. The elder twin speaks to you again, but you already know the question. That's the very same question that caused you so much suffering shortly before your true and final death. What determined your destiny? Yourself. Your life has always been yours to live. You made your own destiny. The soul of a man named Brante lies prostrate at your feet. You have witnessed his entire life, known his in every act, seen his every thought and desire. No other soul could walk the same path. So many difficult choices, so many emotions, so much pain. Another soul awaits your judgment. You know no mercy, nor does your brother. Every mortal must walk the path chosen for him to the very end. Those who abide by the precepts set forth by you and your brother shall return to you and become a part of you. Those who reject you shall know the eternal suffering of oblivion. Where does the man Montgomery Brante belong? I think we belong at the peak of the pillar because we tried to elevate the lives of common people. We didn't make it, but we had good intentions. I believe we begin at the top. You gingerly grasp the fragile soul, lift it up and turn to face your elder brother. You lift your sword, and your brother stands with arms akimbo ready for the blow. The blade slices through his chest, blinding light gushes from the gash. You bring the mystical soul to your brother's chest, and it dissolves into streams of shimmering luminescence. A tiny fragment of your shared creation has rejoined the whole. The man named Brante is no more. There is only the eternal fount in which he now abides. And there we go. Montgomery Brante dies. Faces his true death. From his birth in the year 1118, through college, through meeting Octavia, having our affair, trying to deal with everything that happened in our life, to our death in 1146. So we died at the age of 28. We didn't live very long. And that's it. The life and suffering of Sir Brante comes to an end. And what a journey it's been. I do feel like we could have made some different decisions, but I felt all the decisions we made were decisions made based on what I personally thought was right at the time. Of course, looking back with that knowledge now, I could see some places where I could have changed that. But I think we still did our best to try and lift up the common folk while keeping the people we cared about alive as best we can. If anything, Gloria, our once looked down upon sister, seems to be the one who's survived best out of all of this. She's the one who's actually managed to thrive. It's a shame we couldn't quite achieve the revolt we wanted. Was it because we went to go see our family and then dissuaded the commoners and therefore lost their support at the very end? Very possibly. But I don't know if we'd have had quite enough support anyway. Unfortunately, I don't think we would have had quite enough. But again, this all comes to the choices we made. That is the nature of these games. And I really like these kind of games. They are ones that I greatly enjoy. It's something that I enjoyed a lot when I played Scissorin. And it's one that I've enjoyed a lot with this one as well. Now, this was a game that was translated, as you can see up on the screen. So there have been a few mistakes and a few typos. But in essence, it's still been a very, very good game. And't greatly enjoyed it. I like making decisions. I like these kind of games. And I'm sure you'll see more of them on the channel in future. There is another game in the series called The Life and Suffering of Sir Gerion. I don't know when it's coming out, not for a while yet, I don't believe. But when it does come out, I believe we will come and watch it and play it and see if we can determine whether Sir Gerion can do any better than Sir Brante ever did. There is also another game being developed in the Scissorin series, which I'd like to try. But that is also not ready to be publicly released, and so I'm going to have to come up with another series in the meantime to fill this slot. I have a series ready to take over from Stainless Steel when that series finishes. However, I'm yet to decide which series to replace in this one just yet. Thank you, dear player, for living through the life and suffering of Sir Brante. Damn good game. In the times of fall of the blessed Arcadian Empire. And so that concludes this series. And thank you so much for joining me on this series. It's actually been a little bit longer than I expected because the episodes I was doing were quite short. For Suzerain, I did kind of 40-minute episodes to 50-minute episodes. Here I was only doing about half an hour, but I think it worked well. So this series concludes, and we will see a new series on the channel in the not too distant future. Thank you so much for watching and joining me on this journey. Take care. Bye bye.